Yo, what's up, everybody? Scott Walker here. I'm back for the weekly check-in. And it's a special week. It's a special episode because today is Cinco de Mayo, 2025. 5/5/25. And it not only is it a celebration for Mexicans, but it's also a celebration for me. Because 2 years ago today, on Cinco de Mayo 2023, I did my first stand-up comedy set at the Crown of Comedy Comedy Club in Auburn, Alabama. And so I'm officially completed my second year in comedy. So it's been a very joyful day. I've been pretty excited like this whole weekend. Because I consider like my comedy my comedy birthday to me is more important than my real birthday. Like I forget how old I am. I'm like the past couple of years I'm like, I don't know, I'm like 29 or 30. I'm 30 right now. Pretty sure. Yeah, I'll be 31 this year. But I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm just somewhere around 30. That's all I know. But my comedy birthday is way more important to me now. It's because comedy's important to me, man. I've always loved comedy. If you've known me my whole life, I mean, from the days of me hitting gravity bongs in my fucking bathroom and then going and grabbing my mom's MacBook and watching Dave Chappelle's Killing 'Em Softly. I've probably watched Killing 'Em Softly by Dave Chappelle maybe 50 times after hitting gravity bongs. That's like my favorite special of all time. And that was like a thing I would do in high school. And just always watched comedy specials. Because on Instagram, when I first got Instagram in like 2016, there's a thing called story highlights that you can go back and see all your story highlights. And like I scrolled back to the very top, and like 1 out of every 3 was like a Netflix special that I just watched. So I've just always been a huge fan of comedy, even before I found comedy podcasts. Comedy podcasts is changed the way I even saw. Like, I only thought about stand-up comedy. I didn't think about like getting to hear comedians sit down for long periods of time and joke around with each other. And that just fucking blew my mind. Like, comedy podcast, that's all I listen to. Like, I only listen to music really when I'm working out, like lifting weights and kickboxing and shit like that. But like if I'm at work, I work at a desk job at a computer, so I can just casually crush like hours of stand-up comedy or comedian podcasts a day. And that just like revolutionized my ability to withstand the day-to-day grind of the workplace. So I can like casually entertain myself with noise in the background while I go about my occupation. So 2 years in comedy. It's been the funnest 2 years of my life. I also broke my streak. I hadn't had like a drink in a month. And I went to Columbus, Georgia yesterday for an open mic. And the lady at the bar said the first one's free. So I was like, fuck it, I'll just get a beer. I drank a beer. And then I did clean comedy. I did a clean comedy set. Went good. Went pretty damn good. It wasn't a very packed crowd, so I did about as good as I could to a small audience. But it was fun, and I enjoyed it. And I hadn't done comedy with alcohol in my system in quite a while, even if it was just one beer. But today being Cinco de Mayo, and my 2-year anniversary. I came home and I have some Casamigos Tequila Blanco sitting in my cellar, and I was like, this seems like the perfect time to pour up a tequila soda. So I made a tequila soda with lime. I stopped and got club soda and lime, and I've got one with me here on this podcast. I'm kind of letting it sit because I crushed one right before I started recording. And then as soon as I sat down in my podcast room to fire up the episode, I was like, yo, that tequila Blanco is hitting. But I'm going to take a sip. Or 5 sips. I thought about stopping and getting a cigar of the Latin American descent, like maybe a Nicaraguan or something. But I was like, I don't want to blast myself with nicotine. I don't want to get just fucking leveled with nicotine. Considering I haven't even had a liquor drink in a while. So I was like, I popped his in for like 15 minutes and then threw it out before the pod. Because I did my first one. I did my first Zin also yesterday at that Columbus open mic, and so I'm back on my bullshit basically. I don't know. Maybe I'll circle back and take another couple weeks off until I get to Biloxi. Or maybe I'm just back on my bullshit. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. It's Tequila Blanco's hitting. What is my cat doing? My cat's scratching or something. Hey. Stop. Whatever the fuck you're doing. All right. My wife just got home. I told her I'm recording a podcast. We'll see if she respects my professional integrity. Keeps it quiet. No. But she's studying for her PE exam later in September. It's called the professional engineer exam, I think is what it stands for. It's basically like in accounting, it'd be similar to like what a CPA is in accounting, I assume. I don't know. I don't quite understand what the fuck she does, honestly. She's an electrical engineer. That's all I got. All right. So, back to comedy. Just what it means to me, man. I've always said like my two biggest passions and loves in this life are the art forms of martial arts and comedy. And I always said that, I don't know, humor definitely was my first love. So I was always trying to be funny as a kid. And then I just didn't have any structure, discipline, or anything to give me confidence. And I found martial arts, which became to me the most important thing because it gave me structure, discipline, and confidence. And it taught me so much how to be confident in myself, be able to defend myself, respect, responsibility, how to treat people, and just being content with who you are and your abilities, and learning how to get good at something, and dealing with pain and adversity. So I always thought that martial arts was my number one love, and it's hard for me to pick between the two because I can't stress enough how much martial arts has done for me. But I struggled also. I wish more martial artists talked about this. I guess some of them compete in like jujitsu and stuff like that where you're not getting your head hit as much. But eventually you're there's some people that just get wrecked so much, like their spines are fucked up, and it's just hard to be competitive in martial arts your entire life. But jujitsu would probably be the best option if you want to practice something for your lifetime. But I was never really into jujitsu. I was a striker guy. I wanted to punch, kick, knee, elbow. I want to hit stuff. And you can't do that forever. And you can't get hit forever. Like, eventually, I'm not going to be able to tee off on the bag like I do weekly. And that really bums me out because I really enjoy that. It's my favorite workout. But eventually, my hands, I just know in my older age, my hands are going to be fucked up. My shoulders have a lot of miles on them. I've dislocated my right shoulder twice. My knees are going to get exhausted. I'm trying to protect my joints and strengthen everything around them, so I can prolong that as long as I can. Like, there's people that do bag work up until they're like 60s, 70s, I think. Because if they take really good care of themselves and they're on some, I don't know, maybe later on in my life I'm gonna have to hop on some sauce or some peptides, some TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, get juiced up. But yeah. But comedy has always been, that and martial arts have always been my two favorite things. And I think I don't even want to think about if I had to pick one over the other. But I can't picture my life without comedy. Like, not just me doing comedy. I think it's cool that I do comedy because I never thought I would do it because public speaking always terrified me. Like, I remember I took a public speaking class in college and I showed up on the first day and was so nervous. So nervous. And it turns out the public speaking class at Auburn is, you show up for the first day, that's the only day you're in class. I think all the other classes were an online assignment. And then I had to upload like 3 videos of like me speaking to 3 people. And I was like, I can just speak to 3 of my friends and like give them I'd like give my friends a 5-minute presentation. And I was like, this is so easy. I'm just going to get 3 of my buddies, like 3 of my closest buddies that live here in college in Auburn. It was like Connor Wilton, my bro. Like, we go back to middle school. Cole Connor, another bro. We go back to middle school. Brayton Waddella, another bro. We go back to middle school. And I was like, this is going to be easy, dude. And then I had to like record them sitting on the couch and then go back to recording me. And then I had to give them like a straight up serious, no humor 5-minute presentation. And it was super fucking hard. Also because I felt awkward and nervous speaking to them. And I also felt hilarious. Like, I couldn't stop from just like, I'd fuck up and just start laughing. Like, I wanted to like, I don't know. It just felt weird making them sit through me talking for 5 minutes. So it was actually harder than I thought it was going to be. But I think it's cool that I do stand up now. I get to express my version of humor and comedy. I get to be creative in a cool way that makes people laugh and brings me joy. Experimenting with premises and ideas, trying to be unique, really. Trying to come up with bits that aren't something you hear a lot of people writing about. That's what I find interesting about this, is the process of coming up with unique ideas. But the main reason why I don't think I could picture life without comedy is, like I said earlier, like, I love comedy. Like, I love, like, my biggest inspirations in comedy, if I can't picture my life without seeing them or hearing them in their and their specials or seeing them live at a comedy club or somewhere, or hearing them on podcasts. If I didn't have that, I can't picture what the fuck I would be doing. Like, it's one of my favorite things is the art of humor, being funny. I can't picture my life without witnessing and hearing Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K., and then like even personal like I'm a fan of comedians that aren't even like big comedians, like Brennan Sagalow, not crazy big, Ian Fidance, um, but it's like, I mean, all the way up to the Louis C.K.'s, Dave Chappelle's, Dave Attell's, and then just personal faves like Shane Gillis, seeing him rise. Like, I was a follower of his when his podcast had like a couple thousand followers, and now it's I mean, hundreds and hundreds of thousands. He's blown up like 100x since I started following him. Matt McCusker, Louis J. Gomez, Big J. Okerson, Dan Soder. These guys have entertained me and just opened my mind to comedy in ways that I couldn't picture, like, life without some of the laughs and content that they have provided. And just opening my eyes to how comedy could be. Because I remember when I found Legion of Skanks podcast, I actually found out about them because they came on Rogan and like somewhere around like 2016 to 2018. And I was like, damn, these guys are funny. Like, they have a funny energy and they're kind of like, they seem like dark and edgy. And then I found their podcast. I was like, yo, I didn't think you could talk about this and publish this. This is crazy, some of the shit they were saying. Like, they were saying shit that I can't believe they put it out on the internet. And looking back on it, they kind of regret some of the things they said. They're like, yeah, we would be so much more famous if we didn't say some of the things we said. Kind of hindered their careers. But yeah, I just opened my mind to, like, I was like, oh, you could, if you think it's funny, even if it's fucked up and maybe not something you should say, because I used to get in trouble for making fucked up jokes, like when I was younger, like very inappropriate, dark. I mean, I can't even go into detail on some of it, but like I made man, this is kind of bad taste, but there was a guy, you know what, let's just let it go. Let's not get into it. But I made a joke in poor taste shortly after a high school student died. I don't really know I'm trying to keep it real ass, but I don't really want to just bring it up, just let it be. And to be honest, it was a well-written joke. I mean, the joke was kind of funny. And people did think it was funny around the lunch table, but he went to a different school. But some of the people that found out about it, they didn't do anything because I was a big kid and everyone knew I was like into boxing and shit. But it probably pissed them the fuck off, which understandable. Probably should have just kept that one to myself. But that was a problem I had when I was younger, is I would just have the urge to make if I thought something was funny, I had to share it, man. I needed to get it out because I knew somebody else would laugh. But it got me in trouble with teachers, and sometimes if it was a joke about somebody, it'd piss some people or that person the fuck off. So I kind of just thought I just had my sense of humor was maybe just a little too fucked up, until I like discovered, I was like, oh wait, no. If you go about it in a certain way, other people, like, there's people out there that have a sense of humor like mine. And when I started out, I was a little more edgier and um, pushing boundaries, But like I've developed into like a pretty good comedian, like joke writing wise, and the premises that I'm writing about. Let me take a sip of Tequila Blanco. This is a good podcast, dude. This is a good one. But yeah, I feel like I've really, within the past like recent few months, really I'm developing into like a good comedian. It's like my writing has always been good, but it's like I'm not just doing the dark, edgy stuff like when I first started. Like yesterday, I did a clean comedy set. I didn't cuss or say anything sexual, and I can do really good doing clean material. Like there was a month where I did only clean and Christian comedy. So it was like Christian messages and clean. And that was like that was honestly a really good writing experiment for me. Cause I was like, I'm going to force myself. It's like, I compare it to running with a weighted vest on. So it's like, I'm going to chuck a heavy ass weighted vest on of filtering myself to clean and Christian. And I gotta churn out some material and make it good. So I'd get up and do like 5 to 7, up to 10 minutes on like clean Christian stuff, and it wasn't bad, honestly. I still like throw one of those jokes in about like have you ever thought about what church songs that Jesus likes the most? That's like the intro and the premise of it. If he's like rocking out to certain church songs on Sundays, which is kind of funny, a funny idea. But then after like a month or so, like a month and a half, I forget how long I did that. Take the weighted vest off, dude. I'm back to free reigns, talking about whatever I want to talk about. And I just feel like things are, in the past 6 months, things are really starting to come together. Like my progression as a comedian in the past 6 months has really been exponential. And unless you're following me around, you probably wouldn't notice it unless you're like with me at every set. Because like my first year to a year and a half, I was just trying to churn out as much new material as possible. So I was just grinding my gears, going to open mics, trying out new ideas. I pull up like, I have like kind of like a reputation of being like a prolific joke writer and churning out like pretty unique, good jokes on the regular. And is a really good compliment that like some people have given me that I really appreciate, because that's like, I'll circle back to that, but that's like my main focus when it comes to my process is idea generation and churning out new material. But in the past 6 months, it was really around the Louisiana trip. I knew in Louisiana I was doing 10 to 12 minute sets, and that's kind of when I shifted my focus from because I do like 3 open mics a week here in town, and I'm kind of bouncing, and then like if there's something in Columbus and Montgomery, I hit that too. So I'm gonna do like 4 spots this week. Last like within the last week, I've done, let me think, 40 to 45 minutes of stand up, somewhere between like 35 and 45, I think. Multiple different spots across state lines: Columbus, Montgomery, Auburn, Opelika, and so really I'm trying to like churn out new material for the people I see week in and week out, because I'm not trying to just repeat stuff to them. I want to keep on bringing new stuff, good stuff too. I don't want to just come up there and be like, "Hey, so did you see this on the internet? You heard about this current event? Hey, what about this 100 men versus a gorilla? What? What is that all about?" I try to stay away from current events and stuff like that because it's like I'm not even gonna waste my time. I mean, I think it's okay if you're just gonna throw it away in a week, but I'm not gonna waste my time trying to develop a bit about a current event that's not even gonna be relevant within a couple weeks. It's like trying to think like when I first started. I've talked about this before on the pod, but I wrote it. There was a big thing in the news 2 years ago about drag queens doing like reading at schools. It's called like drag queen story time or something like that. I don't know. Where drag queens would come and like read with kids at schools. And it was like such a current event thing in the news. And it was a joke in my first stand-up set, which I think it's funny now looking back at it. Because I actually have a clip that my buddy Bryson recorded of that set. And I got laughs in it because I was like, drag queens are the only ones with enough balls to go into a school. I mean, school's a modern day war zone. And then I talked about like how people want to put armed guards in schools now and like armed teachers, but they don't want drag queens in school. And it's like, guys, we got to meet in the middle somewhere as a country. I'm calling for armed drag queens in schools to like meet in the middle. And it wasn't bad. Like, I mean, for my first set in comedy, wasn't my best joke of that set. My first set wasn't that bad, honestly. But yeah, I try to stay away from current events and shit like that. But what I was saying is, so yeah, I'm always trying to bring new material, good shit for the people I see weekly. But 6 months ago, around November, I became kind of focused with honing in my 10 to 15 minute set, my showcase set. So if I get booked out of town, I'm bringing, this is the template of heat that I'm bringing. And I had done 15, like literally 2 months into comedy, I did like an 18-minute set. And was it great? Hell no. I was 2 months into comedy. I shouldn't have been doing it. It was my first showcase. And like a year, like I've done 10 to 15 a couple times in my first year of comedy. And, but 6 months ago, I was like, all right, now we're ready to start tightening it up. I was like a year and a half in. And, I was like, man, my 10 is fucking tight. And my 15 now is pretty fucking tight. And I'm always changing stuff out and moving. Like I just brought back an idea, a premise that I thought of last year that I didn't really have it. I didn't really go about it the right way, but I delivered it yesterday for the first time. I haven't even rewritten it. I just kind of like delivered it how I think I'm going to do it. And I wish I kind of recorded it because however I delivered it yesterday felt fucking perfect. It crushed. That's going in the 10-minute set. I'm going to have to figure out how to move. Whatever's the weakest link is bouncing. And same with the 15-minute set. So it's like there's always a couple jokes. Maybe it's one, especially in a 10-minute set. I feel like my 10 is pretty locked in. But if something else good comes up, I'm kicking something the fuck out. So it gets kind of hard too, trying to figure out. It's like, is this joke better than that joke? Trying to get like a balanced scale of, is this joke better than that one? Which one and then it comes down to which one do I like more? Which one do I think is better? Because there's jokes that I keep because they're great jokes, and other comedians know. Like a veteran comedian told me that this joke was like honestly one of the best jokes I've ever written. But it doesn't like murder. But the idea of it's very fun. It's about men in therapy and the male suicide rate. I keep it around because I think it's a funny joke, and an interesting message. And it's real, because like I've done therapy and dealt with suicidal ideation when I was younger. So I think it is good to like spread the awareness of the male suicide rate being higher than females and how men should get therapy. But then I have a funny take on it based on like how difficult it is for men to deal with doing therapy. I've talked about that earlier in this pod, like early episodes, I think. But yeah, it comes down to what you think is funny. And, you know, just progression, just getting better at it. I'm going to take a sip of tequila. But yeah, I'm just very pleased with where I'm at in comedy. It's, man, we've come a fucking long way. It's been the funnest 2 years. And, I'm just looking forward to getting better, man. It's only 2 years in. We're just getting started. So, year 1 was development. Year 2 is tightening in as a comedian. Getting my 10 to 15 down. A real showcase. A good feature. Becoming a real comedian. Transitioning from just an open micer to a guy that you could call to feature anywhere, and I'm gonna bring fucking heat. Honest. Just being real with you. That's what year 2. That was the progression in year 2. Year 3, it's belt to ass. Belt to ass. We're just getting started. We're gonna start beating some ass. I wanted to circle back, but I was talking about how I don't write about like current events, and I was talking about like how people say I'm like always coming up with like new jokes and bringing good jokes, and people are always asking me like, how do I write? Like, what's my writing process? Do I have a routine? Because my buddy Charlie asked me that. He's like, you seem like a very routine oriented guy. Do you have like a writing routine? And he's actually 100%. He nailed that on the head. I am very routine oriented. Like, I wake up at almost the same time every day. I work out around the same time. My supplementation stays about the same. My diet, I eat like a lot of the same things. I'm very, very routine, like kind of military style when it comes to most things, except for comedy. What's weird about it is I don't really write. Like I don't physically, like my first year of comedy, I forget when I stopped doing this, but I used to literally hand write out every joke. And that is a great exercise. I think I learned a lot from that. I think your first year of comedy should be that. And if anything, you should just keep doing that. Don't listen to me. Because physically writing it out helps you memorize the bit. And as you're writing it, you take out words and like I used to write out full jokes, and then I'd get to an end of a sentence and be like, this sentence doesn't even need to be there. And I'd just take that out. And it really tightens up the joke to where it hits better. But I think I've just, I feel like I get that out of repetition now. Because my main thing now is where it used to be writing out the joke, perfecting the format of the joke, getting my idea into a joke format to where I have it memorized and solidified into a structure of like intro, setup, punchline, to where it's like ingrained into my mind. Like, this is the joke. This is every single word, every single sentence. and I memorize it after handwriting it and repeating it. Now, my main focus for the past like year or so, can't remember when I started doing it, was just idea generation. I kind of understand how to word jokes, uh, or how to like kind of lay out an idea. So all I'm trying to do really is just think of funny ideas. So I'm always just like, you'll see it on like comedy podcasts with a bunch of comedians in it. They're just constantly on. They're always being funny. So that's kind of how I go about life. Is just there's a voice in the back of my head that's always just kind of riffing and making jokes. As I start, I'll be just sitting there thinking about something. I'll get lost on a train of thought and just trying to find jokes. So I'm always just trying to find a joke, really. My main thing is idea generation. Trying to come up with as many killer premises as I can. And then like usually what comes up is like cuz that's my process. I'm just thinking. Like that's literally all it is. I'm always just I'm always thinking in like a funny perspective and jokes just come up out of it. So I'm just pondering. My pondering is quite humorous and I'm always pondering. And the jokes just sometimes they just come out of nowhere. And some of them I can't articulate into a stand-up format, so I'll just have to like let them go or I'll bring them up on the podcast. Um, but a lot of them I just catch a train of thought and maybe I'll laugh or I'll chuckle and then it hits me. I'm like, this is a bit. I could talk about this on stage. And then I write down the word, like the one I brought back was GoFundMe death, to where I donated to a guy's recovery GoFundMe and he died like the next day. So that's what I wrote down. And then I play with the premise a little bit. I kind of know where the joke is. I know where my train of thought is in this joke and how I'm going to set it up, where to hit certain tags and punchlines. And that's why I don't write it down, is because I'll take a premise, just a couple key words of a premise, like that I just take like keywords of a premise, just like one word that reminds me of like where I'm going with it. Like Sirius Black. That's my Harry Potter joke. That's where that started, is about why there isn't any black characters in Harry Potter. But I don't write it out and try to memorize it in a solidified format. It's a loose idea that I know where to take the joke. And then I'll take that premise and I'll take it on stage and I'll go do open mics. And I'll do it. Maybe I get it right on the first time. Like maybe like I brought back that GoFundMe joke in like a different way. It crushed yesterday. I don't know if I should have recorded it because I don't really remember exactly how I delivered it. But I think I know the flow of it to where it's going to work. I'm going to do it again tonight. I'm about to go to an open mic. And so I just play with the idea. And eventually I'll play with it a few times and then it's just in my memory as like, oh, this is how it's crushed the last couple of times. This is how I do it, cuz I might change something, flip something or take something out if I feel like it's too wordy or something's not working. But I like to play with the idea rather than like memorize it, handwrite it out and memorize it before even trying it. Like I used to handwrite jokes and memorize them before even trying to see if it works. And it's like that's a good exercise, but I'm wasting time if I'm just gonna throw if it doesn't hit. If that I just wasted time if that joke doesn't hit. So I'm playing with premises. The name of my game is idea generation. I'm coming up with as many good ideas and premises as I can, then I'm playing with them to find the final joke. It's a loose interpretation. I kind of know where I'm going with it, but I don't have to memorize it word for word. I'll figure it out when I get on stage. I'll play around with it, and then I'll figure out the flow of it after a couple repetitions. And after a couple repetitions, I'll have it memorized. Like I'll know how to deliver it. But like I said, I would like waste time throwing out these jokes that didn't hit. Always keep your ideas. Okay, if you don't have it locked in, if it's not like, oh man, this is a crush, this bit crushes, keeping it. It's a banger. I have a ton of bits just sitting on the shelf. Like the GoFundMe bit I brought back yesterday. Man, that one sat on the shelf for a year. My Harry Potter joke, I had it sitting on the shelf for 6 months last year. Like I did it in February, didn't tell it until like August or September. And the first night I told it, they're like, dude, that bit is amazing. Like people were telling me like, that's a fucking closer. And I was like, really? Because I shelved that bit for 6 months. And literally, I didn't even change anything. I brought it back word for word as I wrote it. I didn't change anything on that one. I literally just shelved it for 6 months. Because I did it at like a kind of a crappy open mic. And it didn't get that good of a response. And I was like, maybe it's not that good. And then I brought it back. I was like, this idea was funny. So I brought it back, did the same joke word for word. And people were like, dude, that joke's amazing. That's a closer. So that's another thing. That's on me, though. I should know that. You can't judge one joke off of one rep. You need to try it in different cities and different rooms to different audiences. Because, I mean, you could tell the best joke in the world to a bad audience on your first try, and it doesn't hit. And if you just throw that away, man, don't do that. Try it out a couple more times. You try it out 4 more times, it murders every other time. You're like, oh, yeah, that first crowd just sucked. So keep ideas on the shelf, come back to them. Usually, I don't come back to stuff word for word like the Harry Potter one. I usually come back and change something about it. I brought back my AI sex robots joke too, which people liked. I just shelved that one because I didn't like it. Kind of the same thing with Harry Potter. I kind of shelve jokes a lot. So I'm just like, fuck that joke. I guess it's a good thing to have good jokes on your shelf. In case I need to take something off the shelf. But like the GoFundMe one I brought back in a very different way. I think. I can't even remember exactly how I delivered it the first time. The idea was about the same. But the delivery is a lot better now. So, shelf bits that don't work. If you think something is funny about it, you might be on the right track. You just might not be able to articulate it or tag it up yet. So shelf it, come back to it, maybe with fresh eyes after a couple weeks or a couple months. You're like, oh, wait, that was a funny idea. I think I know how to deliver it now. You deliver it, and it's a banger. So hold on to those ideas. All right. Well, I need to go hang out with some buddies and tell some jokes. Comedy is amazing. And really, sorry, this was a very comedy heavy episode. I guess if you're listening for other reasons, maybe you want to hear me talk about MMA stuff. Or my training. I doubt you're listening to my training. My training is going very well, though. I'm getting very strong, doing up the repetitions, doing sets of 10, compound lifts, full body, 3 times a week. Went for a run yesterday. I was like, you know what? I usually only do 5Ks. I've only done like 5Ks all year, which is like 3 miles. Yesterday, I was like, you know what? I'll bang out 5. I went out there, 3 miles in, texted my wife. I was like, hey, I'm doing 9 today. Because I was like 9 miles off from hitting 2,900 miles on my running app. Dude, fucking crushed 9 miles like it was nothing. Like it was a breeze. I took, like, especially, like, my first 3 miles pace versus my last 2 miles pace. Like, my last 2 miles, I ran a minute faster each mile than my first 3. I'm a diesel engine, dude. Once I get warmed up, there's no stopping me. I'm a fucking tank. I'm a beast. I'm the man. I'm pretty sick. So, yeah, that's about it. Just crushing life in general. But, the best is yet to come, and we'll get there together. We just gotta keep working day in and day out, keeping our nose down, sticking to the grind, and having fun while we do it, you know? Because what's the purpose if we're not having fun? Alright? That's been the episode. I'll see you guys next week. This was a great episode, honestly. DM me if you agree, if you've made it this far. Especially if you're into stand-up comedy. I was really spitting some heat. Alright. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Love you. Bye.